Well, hello once again, everybody, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, Season 8 of Soccer's Overtime. It's the Season 8 premiere of your favorite show talking about the Major Arena Soccer League and, of course, your San Diego Sockers. Craig Elston here, joined once again by my co-host, my cohort, my co-conspirator, to bring you the world of arena soccer in San Diego. It's SanDiego.Futbol's Tony Sanchez. What's up, Tony?
How are you? I mean, I'm very, very excited for this Season 8 San Diego Soccer's MASL action. It's going to be here closer and faster than we all think. I couldn't be more excited for another season up in Front Wave Arena. It's still new. It's still new to me.
Oh, well, hey, you know, it's kind of like when they change music formats and they say the all-new Kick 95 points. It's like, well, you guys had changed formats a year ago. Is it still the all-new? I always think you have a year of that. So now Front Wave Arena is just awesome now. I mean, it's still new, but it's not brand new. It's just the new Front Wave Arena. You can't say the brand new because, you know, it's been there. They've made changes. They added nets, changed the color of the turf.
They did?
A lot of changes around Front Wave Arena. And we're going to be back with you. Season 8, Episode 1, new season, same goals. San Diego Sockers came up one win short last year, just one victory short of claiming their 17th championship, their third MASL championship. They're going to be back at it in a very different Major Arena Soccer League for 2025-26. We're glad to have you along for the journey, whether you are watching us live or whether you are checking us out a little bit later on down the road. Either way, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button, hit like, please subscribe to SanDiego.Futbol, hit the notifications bell so that you'll know every time we go live. I do intend to put these back on the audio feed. Tony was going to send me the feed. So for anyone listening on audio, hello, welcome. We're back. Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
I'm back as a Sockers employee, so I want to make sure everything is fully staffed, so to speak. However, there's still, you know, the aura of independence to this program. It's a San Diego.Futbol program made on behalf of the San Diego Sockers and their fans. With Tony and I will be announcing games for you from Front Wave Arena this year as the Sockers look to take down the chip. On the show tonight, well, it's been a summer of change for the Sockers, for the MASL. We'll review it all. For the league, 8 teams.
Ooh.
No Savage? Wait. No Savage. They're three campeones? No? Okay. Well, what the heck happened? We know, and we're going to let you know. Because if you don't know, you need to know what's going on with the MASL. Because I'm sure there's a couple of narratives out there. We're going to give you the straight scoop as to what happened, why Chihuahua walked away, why other teams agreed to change for strength in the future. We've got a schedule now. We're going to go through it. We're going to find out how do the Sockers line up over 24 matches against 7 other teams. And we'll look ahead. We'll set the stage for our coverage for the season to come right here on Soccer's Overtime. Bobby Cressy, thank you for the theme song for Soccer's Overtime. This is the season debut. It is not the beginning of Tony and I's weekly schedule. We will begin the weekly schedule when we get to training camp, when the team reports, which will be in the month of November, approaching, of course, the season opener, home opener, which is Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving at Front Wave Arena for the San Diego Sockers and the Empire Strikers. That's what's still to come. So there will be a couple 3-week gap between episode 1 and episode 2 of Soccer's Overtime. But once we get going, we'll be going every week like we do every season. We'll go every week from that point until the season ends for San Diego. And then we'll do one more show. And usually that means we'll go through the finals, you know, and I have a sneaking suspicion we'll go through the finals this season. Well, they better. They better. Okay, so that's what's coming up. Let's start. If you missed it, Tony and I did 3 different episodes of Soccer's Summertime during the summertime. We introduced the TST champions from the Soccers. We introduced Chris Toth back to the Soccers family, and we also did the same, of course, for Nick Pereira. You can check out those shows on the SanDiego.Futbol feed, on the Soccers Overtime sub feed within SanDiego.Futbol, and see what we had to say about all those. Hear the interviews with Nick, with Chris, with our stars from Bumpy Pitch that took home the bag from Cary, North Carolina. So check all of that out. I kind of just did, but in brief review, here are the things that happened. The annual June TST 7v7 tournament in North Carolina, first weekend of June, saw Bumpy Pitch FC win with 4 Soccers on board. And there's the man who scored the $1 million goal, Charlie Golasso. Charlie Gonzalez actually scored both goals, all the goals, for Bumpy Pitch in their 2-1 win in the championship match. Charlie, along with Cesar Cerda, Mitchell Cardenas, and Christian Gutierrez, wind up taking down part of the prize pool. From what we heard on our show, for scoring the $1 million goal, and it kind of does make sense. Charlie got the biggest piece of the pie. He got the big piece of chicken. And I think if you score the $1 million goal and make everybody else 40, 50 grand, I think you do deserve the big piece of chicken, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully he took the biggest piece of the trophy too, because absolute scenes after with the guys and smashing that beautiful porcelain soccer ball that was meticulously put together. But I kind of dug it. And you know what? I like it, when that winning mentality for players is always there, right? Like you see players going over in different leagues and still maintaining that fitness, but it's different to win something. And look, at the end of the day, it's semi life-changing money in a short term. I wouldn't mind a little 40,000 here and there, right? But no, it's just really the efforts of this these guys, and another just cementing year where it's like, oh, maybe the secret is to get a San Diego Soccer on your team. Drew Ruggles, former champion.
Every year, literally every year.
Somebody.
Gabi Costa, Tavoy Morgan, Ruggles, year after year, TST. Somebody brings home the prize from San Diego. They did it again this year. Congrats to the TST boys. Love TST. It always is our kind of thing right after the season's over. There's a month, everyone kind of cools off, outdoors in full swing, baseball's in full swing, and all of a sudden there's these 6 days of chaos out of North Carolina, and one, what do they call it? Target score. One target score goal after another. It's NBA season. I was thinking of Elam ending, which is the NBA version of that. But yeah, no, great stuff. Then the summer continued, and the San Diego Soccers made some major acquisitions. I'd say had their busiest offseason in years, and an offseason that points to not only championship hopes for this year, but how the team is planning to transition through the mid-2020s, which starts with the acquisition of 2 of the greatest players in the MASL and in MASL history. Nick Pereira, 39 years old, 8 years with Tacoma, MASL all-time assists leader, 500 points, about to get 500 points, one of the all-time points leaders, all-time goals leaders, 2-time MVP, and, of course, a former champion with the San Diego Soccers. This is actually Nick's 3rd tour of duty with San Diego. As a rookie, he was with the Soccers' first championship team in 2010. He came back from Milwaukee in the first couple of years of the reformed MASL, where the old MISL and the PASL came together to create the Major Arena Soccer League. And after that, he moved on, and he moved on through Empire and to Tacoma, and for years he's been a thorn in our side, but also a friend every time he comes. He's the U.S. men's beach soccer national team captain, and Nick being back we saw it during the Four Nations Cup, Tony. It's going to completely change how the Sockers approach the offensive game this year.
Talk about a fish in water, but I think technically a shark is a different sort of fish because this is a torpedo in water. Just so comfortable out there already on front wave turf, and he looks so natural already there because he played against the Sockers for so many years, and you learn to disarm the opponents and just the ins and outs, and you see things from a different perspective. And having Nick Pereira be one of the greatest of all time, now being able to do it here. And from what I heard too, like it's still new turf. So that ball is a little slower and it plays perfectly into Pereira's style, that hold up play, that big body. And just it's going to be something to behold. And I just hope that, it just ends up being the reason why, Sockers can move onto that championship hurdle now, because it's a hurdle now. That's un tope. Like it's something that the Sockers haven't been able to attain, that championship push, but hopefully that's part of the reason why the Sockers go back into glory.
Well, the track and field staff took down the hurdle and replaced it with a speed bump. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Is that hurdle too high for you guys? What if it walked away right before, let's say, dinner at an owners meeting, just for chance? We'll get to that story. Nick Pereira is going to change things. While he is 39 and he's approaching the end of his career, he still has it. It's clear he still has all of it. He can still play at the national level on the beach soccer team, and he can still play this game. And I think the biggest thing, which we talked about before, Nick has put all these points together. He's played with a lot of good players in Tacoma. I think he's going to play, Tony, with a lot of great players in San Diego. And I don't believe that Nick has ever had, outside of maybe his first couple years as a young player in MISL Milwaukee, I don't think he's had the talent around him that he's got here in San Diego, the options, where if you just give him the ball, he's so unselfish, he's so aware, he's going to find the right play, whether it's himself or any of the dozen scoring options that the Sockers present on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, every time we saw him play, it always was that narrative of, if only Nick had one player, just one, that spoke his language, or he can kind of go off on, and he made stars out of his entire team, regardless of who was on it. And now that you have an option to have so many people be able to finish your plays or understand what you're trying to do. Again, you mentioned during the Four Nations Cup how comfortable, how good he looked out there, and it's these relationships that he has almost telepathically with some of these players that have been around the league forever. He knows the tendencies. He knows where somebody should be. And finally in his career, there's going to be somebody at the end of that, at the end of most plays, to construct and to finish it. So, and he can finish himself, man. Like this is a gem, and an ambassador for the game in every sense of the word, ambassador for the indoor game too.
And we should probably just do this part in part with the two sides. As the Sockers signed Nick Pereira to a 1-year free agent contract, their longtime target and their longtime captain, and still captain, Craig Childs, announced that this would be his final season as a full-time player in MASL. I think coaching is probably in his immediate future. But Craig has announced and said on his feeds and publicly that he is going to take a slightly different role this year, and it's going to be much more specialized: free kicks, power plays, corners, setups, stuff like that. And that frees up the space for Nick to do what he wants to do. And then you've got Pereira, you've got Tavoy Morgan, and you've got Christian Gutierrez to run back and defend for both of those guys, and you kind of build the Frankenstein perfect forward.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Each one of these individuals is worth their weight in gold, but to be able to combine them and be able to understand, and it's that unselfish play that they all have, that, hey, let's go ahead and I'll get the assist. Sure. I'll do the play. I'll do the smart route. I'll do the smart turn. I'll do the smart pass. I'll take a foul even. Like, I mean, these Nick himself, he's a big body, so he's going to be a foul magnet. But the thing is about him too is he'll create his own space, and he doesn't need to have any foul called on him because he'll still create something. But I'm okay with Craig just transitioning into that next piece because he's the brain of it. He's already a coach on the field whenever he touches the turf. So whenever he's on the floor, so I'm looking forward to seeing this new role, but also it's good because you kind of make Phil's job a little easier, right? Like it's not like you're having two players competing 100% for that same role. No, everybody's knowing their role and assimilating into that for the team aspect.
Yeah, egos could destroy the 2025-26 San Diego Sockers, but the fact that the players are buying in from day one makes you very, very encouraged as to what this can be, which brings you straight to the net because the Sockers signed Chris Toth, the 5-time MASL goalkeeper of the year, twice defending, all-time MASL saves leader, a player that just, I think, defines and is prototypical of the 21st century indoor goalkeeper. His athleticism, his ability with his feet, his ability to come up and join the play if need be. Chris Toth, we knew him when he was 18, as a kid coming out of Fusion and winning a couple championships with Sockers and winning goalkeeper of the year with Sockers and then moving on through Ontario, through Tacoma, and now back. Chris Toth, 35, signs a long-term deal to stay in San Diego. And with that, Boris Pardo, who is still here, also announces that this will be his final season going into his age 42 season, that he will transition into becoming the goalkeeping coach for this team and a member of the coaching staff going forward. And of course, Boris, who has more wins than Chris Toth, has a lower goals against average than Chris Toth, is a 3-time MASL goalkeeper of the year. You've got, from accomplishment, trophy case standpoint, the greatest goalkeeping tandem in the history of the Major Arena Soccer League in Chris Toth and Boris Pardo, and there's absolutely no discussion to be had otherwise. These two are the most decorated and the best. I mean, I think the second best would have been Pardo and Waltman last year, and now to have Toth and Pardo, it's the ultimate 8 goalkeepers of the year between the two players.
Yeah, it's almost a shame you can't play both of them at the same time, right? Because both of them are just as good in their own right. And we did see Boris towards that end of the season just have a couple of moments where you're like, well, he can play forever. Like he's going to be unstoppable. Like it's still the Boris of old. And it's a decision that it pains a lot of players to maybe admit to, like, hey, maybe it's time to take a different role. But it seems like with both Childs and Boris, they understand and they take that 20,000-foot view of like, you know what, this is what's best for this program. And at the end of the day, they're still going to be able to play. You still can rely on Boris Pardo to go ahead and give you a performance if you need one. But at the same time, you have Chris Toth ready to go with the same kind of vibe, same sort of unstoppable, will stop everything energy. This is, I mean, you think of pairings in sports, right? Like in net, having Toth and Pardo, insane. Like this is video game stuff. The MASL video game right now is really fun in net.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like the collection thing where you got the two, elite rare. You're like, I got a Toth and a Pardo. Hang on, Diamond Elite. Holy crap. Pay to win, right? Well, Sockers are doing it. They've got the best goalkeeping tandem available. That wasn't all they did. If they did just that, it would have been enough. But the Sockers also acquired Jesus Pacheco, who we've always seen on the other side of the pitch as a real pest with Empire. But honestly, going to Baltimore is where Jesus broke out, had his best two-way season. Now he's back in the young prime of his career on a 3-year contract. And I've never seen a midfield that has like no weakness, all A players, but that's pretty much what the Sockers have going into 2025-26.
Yeah, and I really think it answers this question, right? Like developing young talent. Like you have young talent. Some of these players that San Diego Sockers have, and you've gotten to know over the last couple of years, are still very young. I mean, especially in the indoor setting, right? Gabi Costa is still very young. Pacheco es un morro. Mendez, this is the future of the San Diego Sockers. And yeah, looking at Juancho, looking at X, however these pieces fit into the San Diego Sockers, there's clearly a pathway and an infrastructure that's happening. And even with the announcement, I don't know if it's on the rundown, but just the unification of youth programs and youth teams.
Right.
Like,
Cardiff Sockers and RSF Attack. Right.
yeah, exactly. There's a clear intentional movement happening with the Sockers that's really good to see. And it's being spearheaded by some of the legends of the club. And you're getting this new talent in. And hopefully this is going to be beneficial, not just for the Sockers, but for the league to be able to see this as a copy paste model. Like, yeah, maybe it is possible to go ahead and links with local youth groups. And this is what we're going to go ahead and have as our cantera, as our academy in a sense. So great stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing Pacheco again here. It's an abundance of riches. There's only 4 quarters, guys.
Yeah, it is. And it is hard for a Xavier Snare Williams or a Juan Salazar to find the floor for the big club. And yeah, it would be great if the team had Sockers too and had the ability for those guys to stretch out and to play a lot more. Sockers 2 will not be there this year. That's a decision that was already made. So they're going to find their times in practice. They're going to find their times in rotation. And otherwise, they're going to be putty in my hands for some pregame shenanigans and halftime and postgame shenanigans, as we try to banana up our experience a little bit. But I think when you add Pacheco to a group that already has Costa and Gonzalez and Leo and, the list goes on, it's just an embarrassment of riches for the San Diego Sockers in midfield. They didn't stop there. Here's another one of those midfielders, Sebastian Mendez. He signed a contract extension over the course of the summer. Taylor Bond, who is, I'd just call enforcer wherever you need him to play. He signed a contract extension. Ben Raymond, such a huge addition to the defensive core. He signed a contract extension over the course of the summer. There's probably still a couple to be announced before the season begins officially, but I'll just say, look, Luis Morales is still on this roster, and he's a part of this midfield. He's another one that's a part of this absolutely insane midfield. And you can expect to see him around for a time to come. So there's just, you've got your core back. You had a core signed, but now you bring in 2 of the great players in the league, but players who are San Diegans. Nick, born and raised in San Diego. Chris, born and raised in Fallbrook, still kept their families, their lives here in San Diego all the years they've been playing somewhere else. So it's not like, oh boy, well, we have to integrate these 2, I don't know, Tayu and, Bonahene into the team or whatever, it's not 2 guys who haven't been here. It's 2 guys who know this organization inside out.
Yeah, and I think that just builds the best chemistry. And if there's something that the Sockers thrive upon, I think they found it a little bit is this last year, is that philosophy, going back to basics, going back to the Sockers way of playing indoor soccer. And this is what you need is a impermeable locker room, the chemistry, the vibes, as the kids say, to be immaculate. And I think right now all the ingredients are to have a successful season, whatever exactly what the San Diego Sockers define as successful season, which is a championship, is very much in the cards with this squad.
Seeing as Sockers news is on the banner, I'll just wrap up with a couple other notes of Sockers news. And one is 100% for sure. Supporters culture is coming back, and it's coming to Front Wave Arena for the first time. Los Brujos del 78, who pretty much had last year off as things transitioned from Pechanga Arena to Oceanside. This club and this club's ownership and this club's management did not want that to happen, and they have taken serious, substantive, sacrificial steps to create supporter culture back at Front Wave Arena. It's been received incredibly well by the folks from the Chavos who have grown through Frontera SD and through this inaugural San Diego FC season. So expect to see a supporters section that's real and vibrant every game at Front Wave Arena. And if you're interested in being a part of it, I would recommend reaching out to the Chavos. Supporter season tickets are going to be available with codename Brujos coming up here very shortly. Theoretically, you could probably get them if you called immediately, but I would say wait a week. But still, it's all coming and it's all growing. And also the organization is taking seriously, very seriously, enhancing the fan experience at Front Wave Arena, making it more interactive, making it more fun, making it more dense, more involved, more reasons to be there at 4 o'clock for a 5 o'clock game, or at 3 o'clock for a 4 o'clock game, or at 6 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game, and more reasons to stick around afterwards as well. So, a lot of discussion, a lot of thoughts, a lot of energy being put in this direction to really enhance the fan experience in multiple ways, both in match by bringing that supporter energy, and also around the match by bringing a lot of energy, a lot more energy, a lot more interactivity, and a lot more activity for our fans, our supporters, and our fans. And that I'm really excited about that. So stay tuned. Okay, let's switch to MASL news.
All right.
It's probably what you were here for anyway. So the MASL member meetings, I don't know why they don't call it the owners meetings anymore, but they call it the MASL member meetings, took place in Kansas City about a month ago. And during that, there were multiple days of the members' meetings, but it turns out that day one was the really, really important day, because that day, the owners of the Major Arena Soccer League agreed that they would impose new standards and restrictions on themselves. New restrictions on all member clubs with the intention of raising the floor of the Major Arena Soccer League. There's some teams playing at a high level in the MASL. There's some teams playing at a very good level in the MASL. And there were some teams, I can't even keep my hand in the camera shot, playing down here, playing in the, are you really a Division I team level? There was a lot of inconsistency if you tuned in to various venues of the MASL in terms of what you saw, quality of feed, quality of broadcast, size of arena, size of field. And these are things we've talked about, honestly, for years and years, and begged the MASL to crack down and begged the MASL to adopt stricter standards and harder standards. Really wanted to put that as kind of a preface, because obviously what happened after the first day, which was been described to me by multiple sources, multiple different sources, not just people who were there with a San Diego hat on, described to me as a cordial meeting where every owner was in lockstep and everything was cool and copacetic. And then they went to dinner that night, and all of the ownership and all of the leadership of the league all going out to dinner to keep the conversation alive, but keep the good vibes going. And Chihuahua's owner wasn't there. Just didn't say like, hey, leaving, gotta go. Hey, sorry about it. Or it didn't say, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I'm mad and I want to stand up and say I'm mad about it. That didn't happen, based on what I've heard. If my man JC wants to come on the show, if any of the ownership of Chihuahua wants to come on the show, we'll bring you on the show. We'll find out we'll get your side of it. But from what I've been told, multiple independent, non-San Diego sources, that Chihuahua just left. Didn't announce it, just left. And then the league found out that Chihuahua was leaving the MASL when Chihuahua made a statement on social media the next day. And when they posted their statement, and later on in interviews, they've continued through to say that, what you'd expect, that they felt blindsided by this and felt it was unfair, and it wasn't things that they had agreed to when the league came in, and the league was happy to have them, and now felt like this was probably punitive. And so Chihuahua left. And it's tough. It's tough. It's tough for your league's best team that's won 3 straight championships to leave the league. It's not good. It's never good. You know what I'm saying? It's never good. And while I can maybe create an argument how it could be good over time, right away, Tony, it's never good. Chihuahua is gone. And whomever wins the league this year will have to accept the credibility hit that they didn't beat Chihuahua in order to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just seeing just what the team itself means now to that community as well. Like, they have a community set in Mexico, and they've built this team up to be, a beacon of what's the indoor soccer sport should be across an entire nation. And they have beat the league and every opponent in the league that they are part of. And they did it with the rules of engagement that they had. And the fact that they're leaving and taking their ball and not being in the league is just unfortunate for so many reasons beyond the fact that the best team in the league is no longer part of the MASL. Like, that in itself, that headline is not good. There's no addition by subtraction with that equation. Savage was incredibly fun to watch. It's entertainment. And if there's one thing that this league, could, not necessarily afford to lose, is some of its entertainment aspects. Like, look, I enjoyed the brand, maybe not against the San Diego Sockers that much, but they were exciting to watch. You saw the development of players. You saw a real team aspect. You saw a team come in with discipline and a team that kind of had their own moxie about them, because they were battling against the Sockers for years, and then they were able to beat on a storyline basis. That's what we watch shows for, the storyline of a team like Chihuahua Savage. And now that story is not going to be part of this next season, and that's unfortunate.
It truly is. Having said that, what are the standardized upgrades that the MASL is looking to bring to raise the floor? Well, here are some of the things. Standardized field dimensions. As was said to me by a source, you walk into an NHL arena, you know the size of the rink. You walk into an NBA arena, one team doesn't have a 60-foot court and the other one has a 94-foot court. They're all 94 by 60. Like, there's uniformity, and there should be that expectation of uniformity in the sport of arena soccer. So that's a good goal for the MASL to have. Here's another one. Proper locker rooms and amenities. You don't want to have one arena in the league that doesn't have, for example, showers or lockers with locks that you could protect your valuables, things such as that. No one wants that. That should be something that everyone can agree upon, that everyone should have the ability to shower after the game, right? Like, okay, how about this? The league wants to grow its profile. The league knows it has a telegenic sport, but in order to have a league that another streaming platform, another broadcast platform is going to be willing to pay money for, or even come to a working agreement to cover, you need uniformity. You can't be like, well, we're only going to show 6 of our 12 teams because the other 6 teams, the broadcast craps out half the time, and other times we're showing 60 people in the stands, et cetera, et cetera. There's no, uniformity, there's no level standard. Okay, they want that. That's important. In order to have that, you have to have something behind the scenes. You have to have working Wi-Fi, not
Yes.
just for the arena. You have to have dedicated internet for the broadcast so that the broadcast doesn't go offline because 300 people decided to go on Instagram at the same time in the arena or decided to start streaming at the same time in the arena. You just can't do that. Well, that's what the MASL wants. How about uniformity in the area that the players interact with? Some teams, most teams, have fiberglass boards, but some teams had plastic boards. Most teams have flat boards. Some teams had boards that were of a concave nature, where some bounces would go up and other bounces would go straight out and other bounces would go down. Well, you don't want that. You want uniformity in that within the league. And I think a perfectly reasonable goal for a niche league like the MASL is to have at least 3,000, 3,500 capacity for all the arenas in the league. Of course, that makes sense. Every one of those, I think any one of you in the audience, including in the province of Chihuahua, would agree. All of these are things that the league should be working toward. And if they've agreed to those things, that should be reasonable to be adopted by all the members of the league. Well, having been there myself, I can tell you that Chihuahua's Corner Sport Arena literally doesn't tick any of those boxes. It had an ununiform field dimension. It did not have proper locker rooms. There were no showers. There was no security. There were no doors. There's no doors at Corner Sport Arena for the athletes who had to walk directly through the fans to get to their private area and to get to their belongings. There was no working Wi-Fi for broadcasts. That's why all the broadcasts you ever saw for a big game at a Corner Sport Arena went down, except for the Spanish feed. So those things are just, the boards were plastic and concave and leading to weird bounces. The maximum capacity was somewhere around 1,100 people, if that. So it's one thing to not fill one of those or two of those, but if you can't fill any of those, I mean, that should be a problem for the league, right, Tony?
Yeah, and exactly that, because this is the way that you want to go ahead and project, right? You're projecting towards having over 3,000 fans potentially in your league, and in order to even do that or to consider that, you have to have the facilities for it, and you have to have at least the intent to do that. And there's just nowhere to fit that amount of humanity in Corner Sport Arena and have the size requirements of a field that's of a professional level in Corner Sport Arena. And look, it's unfortunate that this is kind of what the deciding factor is, but this is a reality. Like, this is business as well. Like, this is where the trends are. And look, having to do a remote translated English final a couple of years out of that from the Califino Arena was low-key a miracle that it happened.
Yeah.
But
I think one day it was an actual miracle.
yeah, like legitimately something descended from the heavens and just gave
Like
us
a minute before and it didn't work and then it worked. Like,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to compete too with these other leagues that are popping up globally, you have to have some of these just standards and practices. And these teams should be able to do that. And look, I know that Savage is kind of saying in this of like, hey, they bought the space. Well, find another space. Find space to go ahead and do that. Like, there's blame to be held at the end of the day, but at the very end of it, there's a team that is not in the league because of requirements not fulfilled.
correct. And I think this is really important. The league didn't say to Chihuahua, hey, you got to do all this or else you're out of the league.
Mm.
Hey, you got to do all this or else you can't XYZ, can't host a playoff, can't host whatever. And the reason I know this is because the Baltimore Blast are a thing that exists. Okay? And the Baltimore Blast play on a deficient field at Towson's SAQ Arena, unless they've changed the corporate sponsor. But the I think they did change because I think it's the TU Arena now, the Towson Arena. So it's a basketball court. It's a college basketball court. And they've repurposed it for indoor soccer for well over a decade now, but the field is too small and the capacity isn't enough. It's almost enough, but only if you keep this really small field. Baltimore is still a member of the MASL in good standing. They're going to play on the baby field again this year. But the reason is because they're grandfathered in because they've got this issue and they have pledged to work to fix it. So whether it's next year or the year after, at some point in the near future, Baltimore is either going to move to a different place or they are going to renovate the place they have so that it has a standardized field. One of those things is going to happen. Baltimore has pledged it as a member in good standing of the MASL. And Chihuahua could have done the same. They could have said, yes, we agree. We're going to work toward these understood and commonly shared goals. We understand this is where the league needs to be. We're not there. We're going to get there. We are kicking your ass on the field. We're going to kick your ass off the field. We're going to get to that spot. We accept it. Let's go. Chihuahua ghost. The Mexican team had an Irish goodbye to the owners' meetings.
Wow. Yeah.
They disappeared. And then they gave a statement. And that was designed to inflame. And I respect Chihuahua's ownership. As you know, I went to dinner with them. I talked to them. I believe in them like I do. Mm-hmm. But this is the direction the league has to go. And if Chihuahua just wants to be a cheat code in our league to win, that's not enough. I don't care how good you are. And that kind of brings me to the second half of this, which is that Chihuahua was kind of a cheat code in our league.
Yeah. Yeah.
The visa situation is not resolved. Chihuahua had access to an entire player pool that no other teams in the league had access to. The only top players in Mexico who didn't play for Chihuahua were players like Ismael Rojo that were contracted to us that we didn't let go. You know, or an Edgar Gonzalez who decided to stick around 1 year in Monterrey for family reasons, etc. Like, other than that, any good Mexican indoor soccer player could only play for Chihuahua. Couldn't play for any of the other 11 teams in the league last year. No Monterrey. How was that fair for anyone? How is that fair for anyone? Because this brings me to the other big point, Tony, and it might be a little more contentious, but if this league's goal is to grow, get bigger, get better, get recognized, get to the point that visas aren't an issue, get to the point where platforms want to show your broadcasts, you know, like I look at the National Lacrosse League. The National Lacrosse League is mostly Canadian. It's basically Canadian players that fly into their markets, including San Diego, that live in Saskatchewan and Victoria and wherever else, fly into their markets on Thursdays, play on Fridays and Saturdays, fly back to Canada. You know, there's teams in Canada, there's teams in Northern America. There are a few teams outside of that, but the NLL has standards. The NLL has money. It has uniform ownership. It can be on ESPN. It can be on ESPN Plus. You know, That's where the MASL needs to be. They need to be at the level of the National Lacrosse League in terms of investment, in terms of money, in terms of what they're putting into their product, but also in terms of the uniformity of presentation, that I can go as a Seals fan and watch a game at Buffalo Rock. I can watch a game at Saskatchewan Rush. I can watch a game at Colorado Mammoth. I can watch a game at any of these places, and I'm going to get the same kind of level broadcast. I'm going to see the same kind of level turf, the same kind of level competition, the same kind of level crowd. And that's critically important to a league being able to grow. And the thing that's really come to me over time, or that I've thought of, is stuck in my head over time. How did Chihuahua or Monterey, how did those franchises help the MASL grow? They existed. There's no question. They had fans. No question. They had organizations committed to win with great players, and they won at a super high level. Monterey went undefeated. Chihuahua has won 3 straight championships. But how did that help Milwaukee's game get on a broadcast platform? How does that help Utica sell a ticket? How does that help any other member club in the MASL grow? These teams are not adding money to the league. The teams cannot be platformed at the same level as the Ambush or the Strikers. These teams have way more ability to be platformed than Monterey or Chihuahua did. There's a talent suck that occurs, but simultaneously, there's no reinvestment back into the product of the Major Arena Soccer League. And that's why, when all is said and done, as a guy who's been a part of this since 2009 and really, really cares, like, I'm okay with an 8-team MASL, because Chihuahua was the best team on the pitch that did nothing off the pitch. And their fans in Chihuahua weren't bringing a TV deal to MASL, weren't bringing new ticket revenues to any other side. They were just winning and essentially siphoning off, from the league. And furthermore, the Texas teams that were drawing, in Outlaws' case, 100 fans or 80 fans to their games to go out and lose and be bad. Harrisburg committed ownership, but nobody was coming. The team's been bad forever and went like 3-21 or whatever. Like, how does it help your league to have teams that have no fans, drab arenas, empty stands, bad commentary, bad broadcasts? Just how does that help? How are we better at 12 with a team that just wins the championship and adds nothing to it, and 3 teams that do nothing but lose and lower the standards of the MASL? I feel like if you all commit and agree, here's our goals, here's our standards, here's the level we're getting to, we're all going to be here. I'd rather be there with 8 than to be here, and down here with 12.
And this is only going to get bigger with the World Cup coming to the United States, right? There's going to be an interest in this sport. And if all of these issues that sometimes as fans, as followers of this league, complain about these visa issues, these issues of broadcast, like you're saying, like, in order to get and fix those things, there has to be a buy-in from everybody in the league. You can't have one team just say, maybe not, because it has to be a uniform decision. And Chihuahua just wasn't willing to make that sacrifice and make that investment in the league. They wanted to invest in themselves and get themselves comfortable. That's all fine and dandy. But if you want to go ahead and make the big bucks, if you want to make dollars over pesos, then you need to go ahead and invest a little bit more. And in this day and age, had it been in 2004, had it been in the early 2000s, and internet was what it was, and it's slow and it's dial up even in Mexico. Like, okay, I understand. Like, it's expensive to go ahead and put such a production up, but we live in an era where that shouldn't be a matter of question. Like, internet speeds down there are just as fast as they are up here. So, you know, if we're picky about it, like Savage just chose to just again take their ball and go home. But in the grand scheme of things, MASL is going into that direction of growth, and they want to go ahead and have the ability to have big eyes, big names, big ambitions, and everybody has to be on board with that. And I have to agree where maybe the competition aspect does lose a little bit, but if the growth is there and these 8 teams grow and they get themselves in a position where then Chihuahua is like, all right, we'll invest and match it. Maybe there's a time where Chihuahua's welcome back and they have, their arena set in a couple of years. And now we can go ahead and have these talks and negotiations about, hey, bringing them back. But until then, there's no point in bringing dead weight investment wise.
Yeah, I'd really like to see personally, I'd really like to see those clubs in Mexico reinvest in LMFR, in Liga Mexicano Fútbol Rápido, create a vibrant competitive league, create the Liga MX of indoors in Mexico, and then we could play a CONCACAF thing. We could do something. If you want to kick our asses and come across in an international competition, great. But it's not fair. And if there's no, if there's an economic disparity to go with a competitive disparity, there just isn't. It doesn't make sense. And it was lovely. It was ambitious. It was idealistic to say, oh, we could be Sonora and Monterrey, and we could be Chihuahua. Maybe we could be Guadalajara. What about Tijuana? Could we be a Mexican and American league? Could we be a binational league? Well, if one set of teams are playing at one set of standards and another set of teams are playing at a completely different set of standards, and there's one player group available to these teams and there's a completely different player group available to these other teams, there's no consistency, there's no standardization, and so there's just going to be chaos year after year after year. So I just trust me when you understand out there. I'm an empathetic individual. I know that many of you are thinking that I am spewing soccer's bullshit right now because Chihuahua knocked our asses out of the playoffs 3 years in a row, beat us, kept us from the title, and now they're gone. And I'm saying it might be good. Yeah, obviously it's good for us. I understand why you might not want to accept it's good for the league message from us or from me. Okay, I accept that. But I still think it's true. And here's the rest of it, okay? Harrisburg is moving to the Hershey Arena where the Hershey Bears play. The Hershey Bears are one of the AHL's most storied, decorated franchises. For decades, one of the best, most winning, most supported teams. The Hershey Bears, they've won so many AHL championships. They're like a dream franchise. Well, now the Heat will get to play in Hershey. And Hershey and Harrisburg, by the way, if you don't know, are like 10 minutes apart. They're right next to each other. When we went to Harrisburg in 2013, Coach Quintero and I went to Hersheytown the day that we had off, to go check it out. So they're right next to each other. The point is, they're not going to be in a place that smells like horse whatever next year, like they've been the last few years. They're not going to be in the adjunct arena in Harrisburg. They're going to be in Hershey, in a real hockey arena, a real place. Nice, good. Not the newest one, but it's good. It's real. It's nice. Now we go to Sacramento, Cordova. This expansion franchise has paid their dues. They're in, and they're building their own arena. Sacramento will come into the MASL for not this season, not next season, but 3 years from now, 2027-28. They're going to be an expansion team. And like San Diego, they're going to be an expansion team that owns and controls their own arena. Texas is reorganizing. Those two teams that, honestly, We're both a gigantic friggin' mess. A gigantic mess. I should just say no more, so I will say no more. They're reorganizing under new ownership with a chance of one or both returning either next season or the season after. But why keep going? Why just leave a zombie team, a barely semi-pro team, to be in your pro league, to get their asses whipped, for you to drive to their pointless facility with lumpy turf and 7 fans? Like, why? That's bad. That's bad for the league. And the last one, Tony, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City hosted the MASL Combine last weekend. They're moving into M2. They've got aggressive ownership that's got TST ties. They've got a new arena. Whether it's a year or 2 years out, Oklahoma City. See, these are the types of franchises, to me, that can invest in the league, that can create standardization. I'd rather have Oklahoma City and Sacramento than Chihuahua and Monterey. And that sucks, because Chihuahua and Monterey are going to be way better on the field than these other two teams. But that doesn't make you a better league, man. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and it's a smart business decision to do, right? Again, if you want to have the better standards and experiences as fans of the sport, then these are necessary cuts and these are necessary decisions. And they didn't have to be cuts. Again, like you mentioned, you laid it out, right? Like there was a pathway for, say, a Chihuahua to stay, and clearly other teams are taking the cues. These are opportunities now that different cities are jumping on it and are seeing, like, okay, this is an opportunity to go ahead and invest in this league. And this is where this league really is finally looking around into what's happening elsewhere in the world, seeing TST, seeing Kings Cup, seeing all these different things that are really catching the eye of the soccer world, and not just indoor soccer, outdoor soccer. Like it's bringing in new fans. I love the supporters of the MASL. I love everybody who's so invested in an off season and really want to know everything. But at the end of the day, a sport lives on through creating new young fans. And these other leagues have found something with that. MASL wants to go ahead and get to that direction. More eyes. The play speaks for itself. The players are stars. This is something that's necessary to move forward, and hopefully, like, it's a more polished product. Yeah, less teams, but if these teams are more polished, it looks better, then that's going to be better for business for everybody, not just the teams, but players, the people who go over and support their teams, the fan experience, just the competition. Again, players will feel better playing if they know that their cell phone isn't going to get stolen or have a chance to get, taken. These are real things, right? Like we always commend the players and just how professional they are, and how sometimes, in the off season, they're just regular people too, but they're regular supernatural soccer people, and they also deserve to get that respect and be put on a pedestal of, this is a real league. So that way visas can get approved. This is that way the government can say, wow, that's a great league. I love MASL. You know what? We're going to go ahead and have these work visas settled. This is a real professional league.
Got to take those steps. Sometimes you got to reorganize. Sometimes you got to take a strategic retreat in order to make a stronger advance, because otherwise, if you just keep advancing, you just thin yourself out and then you just fall apart. And I think this is an important move for MASL. I think Chihuahua did them a favor, to be perfectly honest. Walking out, I think they did them a favor, because MASL was going to work very hard to try and keep that great franchise in the league, and they were going to hurt themselves in order to do it. And now you stand at a solid 8, and you have a chance to get to a solid 12, and then you could get to a solid 14, and you can continue to grow and go forward. With that, let's switch to our last subject for tonight, which is the schedule. The schedule came out a little bit earlier this week. The league made a big deal about they used an AI company to help make the schedule, and they said that other big pro leagues are using it, and cool, whatever, cool. It's just a computer program, bro. It's a computer program. why do we all get sucked into this AI wormhole? Like, I don't care that you made your. If you hand wrote it and it was good, I'd be excited.
Yeah. Yeah. You told me, oh, there's this dude that's just amazing at logistics and figured it all out. Like, I want to talk to that guy. That's awesome. But, you know,
Cool on you, MASL. You want to trumpet your AI partnership. I think it's bullshit, but that's just me. I think all AI is bullshit. That's not a negative on you. It's on all of AI. Okay. Just call it a computer program and just give me a schedule, you know? Okay. Soccers have a schedule. Soccers have a schedule that looks like it was made by AI, Tony. Like, you're going to be at home, then on the road. I don't know. Here's your home schedule. You just showed it, but let's go month by month. There you go. Home opener, season opener, November 28th, Empire Strikers. Then Milwaukee Wave in town, December 7th. Head up to Empire for December 12th. Christmas break. Come back after Christmas. Tacoma Stars the day before New Year's. That is 3 home, 1 away. That is your November, December schedule. Okay. Light, progressive, normal. We always know there's much more games after the new year than there are before. Let's go to January. How many home games do we get? Oh,
man, that's a lot of yellow away.
Make sure to get your tickets for January 3rd when the Soccers host Empire, because you ain't going to see your team again till February.
Wow. Or follow them. Yeah. Come on. Let's get some away fans.
Is this like the Lakers with their Grammys road trip? Is Front Wave hosting the Grammys? What happened? Look at this. Look at this January schedule. This is games 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the San Diego Soccers. So there'll be 4 home, 1 away to start off. And then at Tacoma is a Sunday after a Saturday night at home.
Jeez.
That's play to Tacoma. Then how about an East Coast road trip at Baltimore, at Utica? Day game, afternoon game. It was, whew. Okay, but you like 2 in a weekend. You like that. Then the next weekend, go to Milwaukee. Okay. One-off trip, but go to Milwaukee. Cool. Couldn't fit a St. Louis match in there. Okay. And then the next weekend, how about drive up to Empire, fly to Maryland, and let's just one off with Baltimore.
Why not?
One more time.
This is impractical almost. Congratulations on all those air miles.
Dude.
Roughly speaking, I mean, in the month of January, it's going to look something to the effect of, I can pull this up. Let's see. San Diego, Tacoma, Utica, Ontario, then Baltimore. That's roughly, let's say.
Well, you said it for walking.
For walking. Well, it's still a
Johnny Appleseed out here.
All right, even driving, but that's just a visual of what the Soccers are going to travel. Like, that's incredible. In a month, like, geez, how are they supposed to stay fit on airplanes? Like,
I like the 137-hour drive too, as well. Yeah, watch party January. There's no question about it. Shortest nights of the year, or shortest days of the year, longest nights, and a lot of watch parties. That's January. So at the 11-match mark, the Soccers will have spent 7 of their 12 road games. That's wild. It's pretty wild. Let's continue on. Obviously, February and March are going to be a lot better. Here we go. 4 home, 2 away in the month of February. Tacoma Stars. Utica City comes to town. Then you go to Kansas. Ooh, look at this. Go to Kansas City play a Saturday afternoon game.
Mm.
Fly, play the next day at 4:00 Pacific, hosting Empire on February 15th. So Valentine's Day away. Sorry, girlfriends. And the next day you're playing at home. That's brutal. But then you've got a Tacoma away February 21st, home February 27th. No big deal. No big deal there. Things calm down. That back-to-back is just disgusting. That's the second we've seen.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's absolutely gross. But things are balancing out now. They're equal home and away going into March. Let's take a look at the March schedule, and we see Kansas City. Mostly, we just see Kansas City, Tony.
Okay. Just have a satellite soccer's camp out there.
March 5th away at Empire, no big deal. Come home, take on Baltimore Blast on a Sunday afternoon. Great. Next week, fly to Kansas City, play Kansas City. Both teams fly the next morning, I'm sure, to same day play at Front Wave Arena. That game's going to be a poop show.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. But that's what the league presents. Then you get a home match against St. Louis. Only time we play St. Louis.
Just snuck
By
in
the
there.
way, just randomly, there's the one St. Louis match. And then let's just go ahead and do that Comets thing again. Let's play away and home in the same weekend. This time a day in between, thank God. But let's do a home and away with Kansas City. And I certainly hope we don't face each other in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. That breeds just disdain for the opponent. Like just, and not even disdain, just like you again. Like it's like, during during COVID, a lot of married couples had to spend time together and be like, oh my God. And that's the person you love. Now a competitor and seeing Kansas City over and over again, like that's just how indiscipline happens, sloppy play, and hopefully, the crowds in Kansas City will keep it interesting because I know San Diego will, right, guys? Because we won't be tired by that time of KC, and at that point, potential red cards. Imagine just you get a red card in game 2, and then game 3 is just bench versus bench, and then another one, and then hey, playoffs against Kansas City.
Can we play Kansas City that many times without Shane Butler being the head ref for one of the matches? I mean, the 20 cards, I'll never forget the rest of my life. I'll never forget the 20 cards in one match. So, it's not ideal. Looks to me like it was made by AI. I'm just saying. But in the end, it's mostly a balanced schedule. It's just weird in the way it's like Empire early, Kansas City late. There's so much Kansas City late. However, at least those are 2 of the 3 or 4 best teams in the league. So I don't think anyone's ever going to be mad watching San Diego play Kansas City. But Matt just made the point. These guys will be on the same Southwest flight, bro. At least it's assigned seating now. Like I'm really against Southwest going to assigned seating, but I think in this particular case, I'm all in favor so that we don't just have fisticuffs in the 34th row.
Yeah, just the unfortunate clerical error that just mixed them in.
Let's go every other seat. Let's see what happens.
Oh, man.
Well, there's your schedule. The promotional schedule will be announced a little bit later this week on Thursday. At that same time, single match tickets will go on sale. As I told you, supporter section is going to be a real thing this year. Get excited for that. And with that, we've gotten to the end of the menu for Soccer's Overtime Season 8, Episode 1. As we mentioned early in the show, we will not be on next week. We're going to wait until the teams get into camp in November. And then Tony and I will begin the every week schedule that will, once we start it, it'll be set it and forget it. But it's going to be Tuesdays. It's going to be 6 o'clock. It's going to be right here, SanDiego.Futbol on YouTube, live shows, live interactivity, live guests, live players, live coaches. MASL news, all of it, all coming your way. Tony, it's great to be back.
It feels like we're home and snuggling up to it, and I'm excited for it. Again, I'm ready to see these players get out there and show us what they do best, and it's their talents. I'm tired of seeing all of the San Diego Soccers across social media doing great stuff for just these mercenary assignments.
Yeah.
No, let's
Gutierrez wins a tournament every weekend. I swear to God.
Yeah, like let's go ahead and have the Soccers start it up, and I really hope to see a lot of people out there. And hey, I think the Soccers found a new fan base in Oceanside that I didn't know was there. So hopefully that keeps growing too, and we see a lot of families coming out, and a lot of the locals up in Oceanside too. So North County, his representing is showing up. So now it's time for the rest of San Diego to join him up there as well.
We just got to keep the momentum going. It's the greatest San Diego soccer year ever. Let's hope it ends with silverware for SDFC, for San Diego Wave FC, and for the San Diego Soccers. Trust me when I tell you, it's championship or bust in 2025, 2026. And that's it for this episode of Soccer's Overtime. Tony, tell everybody how they can support yourself, Chiva, and Abe, and everything you guys are doing at SanDiego.Futbol.
Absolutely. You said it. SanDiego.Futbol. That is where we have everything soccer in San Diego, SDFC, San Diego Wave, San Diego Soccers. Privileged to be able to help out with the Soccer's name on SanDiego.Futbol. It's awesome. Check it out. SanDiego.Futbol. Craig?
Well, for myself, with this show coming back, that means I'm hosting 4 podcasts now, which is totally cool. The latest edition of Padres Hot Tub, myself, Chris Reed, and Rafi Cantor had Kevin Acey from the San Diego Union Tribune on. Incredible hour conversation. A lot of people are saying the greatest PHT episode they've ever heard, so check it out. You can find that. If you're a patron, you can follow us, patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, and get everything early, but that's on the free feed as well. Tony and I, Saturday night, despite having both worked and watched the Wave match, got together for our Chromaniacs post-game show for SDFC beating down Portland Timbers 4-0, and of course Vancouver losing. So follow us at the Chromaniacs on Instagram. Find the Chromaniacs podcast everywhere you find this show, including on YouTube. You can find Chromaniacs. Subscribe to it. For myself, Tony, and Alex, we'll be back with episode 20 of our show on Thursday, once we know tomorrow night who SDFC will play on Sunday in the opening round of the playoffs. And Crossing Streams is my television streaming review podcast. Myself and Chris Reed will be recording a new episode this week, finishing off Task. But any great shows that are happening, you can find our reviews and our podcasts there. So Soccer's Overtime, Crossing Streams, Padres Hot Tub, Chromaniacs. I don't know if I'm going to get to do PA for another Wave match. They're going to have to win in Kansas City or get some upsets in the playoffs for that to happen. But wouldn't be mad if it did. And that's it for us tonight. Thanks to all of you for being here. We really appreciate it. We do this for the fans of the San Diego Soccers and Arena Soccer. We wouldn't do it if you guys didn't want it. So we're happy to be back for season 8 of Soccer's Overtime. For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. We'll talk to you in a few weeks. Until then, go Soccers!